mistreated his mom. Who gives a about no nigga that mistreated his mom and dad?
NBA legends are dropping some truth bombs about Kobe Bryant, and honestly, what they're saying might make you see him in a whole new light. We're talking about stuff that's pretty intense, pretty raw.
Kobe doesn't trust what's going on there. It's too bad. He doesn't have anything to go to help him out.
To Paul Shirley's disgust for him,
Kobe Bryant is probably a true sociopath.
and Charles Barkley's brutal assessment,
I'm so disappointed in Kobe. He was trying to prove a point that he didn't have any help.
Like Phil Jackson straight up calling Kobe uncoachable. I mean, wow. And Charles Barkley's brutal take. I'm so disappointed in Kobe. Ouch. So, buckle up, because we're diving deep into what NBA legends really thought about the Black Mamba. It's going to be a wild ride.
It's an expression for a play that we run at the end of the game. But does Rudy have that play? Kobe doesn't trust what's going on there. It's too bad. He doesn't have anything to go to help him out.
First up, Phil Jackson calling Kobe Bryant uncoachable. When the Zen master speaks, the basketball world tends to listen. And when Phil Jackson, arguably the most successful coach ever in the NBA, labels a player uncoachable, that's not just a minor critique, that's a potential career killer. It's like a doctor giving a grim diagnosis, and that's exactly what Jackson did to Kobe Bryant, delivering an assessment so harsh it followed the Lakers superstar for years.
I walked up to Shaquille O'Neal and I said, Mr. O'Neal, I'm Paul Shirley, I'm here for training camp. And he said, I know who you are. He didn't know who I was, but he did that to make me feel at ease and feel comfortable throughout training camp. He was kind, always asked, Shirley, you need anything? Let me know. Kobe Bryant was the exact opposite of that. I kind of scared me in a lot of ways.
Jackson's 2004 book, The Last Season, wasn't just about the Lakers' drama-filled year. It was like a public deep dive into Bryant's personality, his flaws, everything. The coach, who had guided Michael Jordan to 6 championships, seemed almost at a loss for words when trying to describe his frustration with Kobe's refusal to fully embrace team basketball.
I'm so disappointed in Kobe. He was trying to prove a point that he didn't have any help. He shot one time in the second half. And, you know, at that time, they were comparing to Michael. I said, Michael, when he played against the Celtics, he's like, I got to get 60-something. I'm going to get it, whatever. He's not going to pout. Kobe starts texting me, you mother, you mother. I said, yo, man, I'm doing my job. But you such a so we go back and forth so about this time, it's about 1 in the morning. We go back and forth for like 2 hours. I said, yo, man, pick up the phone and call me. Stop texting. And it was great. We laughed about it later. He was mad at the moment. He understood I was doing my job.
Kobe was uncoachable, Jackson wrote, blunt and to the point. He was too stubborn and often went against the team. But the criticism didn't stop there. Jackson, who was all about the triangle offense, found himself battling a player who seemed determined to tear down everything he was trying to build. When Jackson told Lakers owner Jerry Buss that he wouldn't come back if Bryant was still on the team, that wasn't just a coaching decision. It was a clear ultimatum, exposing the seriously strained relationship between two basketball minds that, on paper, should have clicked. The mind games continued. Years later, in a 2013 interview, Jackson twisted the knife even further, calling Bryant very sensitive and admitting that he had to be really careful when he criticized him. This wasn't a coach protecting his former star player. This was a master manipulator, revealing his subject's biggest weakness to the world.
Me with Kobe with Shaq. I don't win a championship. You don't think I could carry the Lakers to a championship? Like, I've never had the opportunity.
Correct.
I felt like if I was put in that position to win a championship, I damn sure would show up and do what I do in the playoffs to elevate my team to that level.
Jackson went on to describe how he would tweak Bryant in film sessions, watching him react with explosive anger. It painted a picture of a player whose emotions were so close to the surface, it made him almost impossible to manage. But maybe the most devastating blow came when Jackson weighed in on the never-ending Michael Jordan versus Kobe Bryant debate, settling it with brutal finality. MJ was better than Kobe, Jackson declared in 2014, basically telling the world that his former player just didn't measure up to the Chicago Bulls legend. Coming from the coach who had worked so closely with both superstars, this wasn't just an opinion, it was like expert testimony.
Never brought up really and never really discussed why you were not
at Kobe Bryant's memorial service.
Jackson even revealed that there was something I said that Kobe never forgave, exposing the lasting damage their relationship had suffered. The Zen master had in a way broken his student, and both men knew it.
You know how I be. Last week, Kobe couldn't do without me. Kobe.
When Jackson returned to coach the Lakers from 2005 to 2011, their success couldn't erase the fundamental truth he had already laid bare. Kobe Bryant's biggest obstacle wasn't the opposing teams, it was his own inability to submit to authority, to truly be part of a team.
We ain't Kobe Bryant. Watching basketball, man. Kobe. Mistreated his mama. Get about no nigga. Let him mistreat his mom and daddy. Let the bitch get all the money. Kobe. We dead, nigga. Yeah, y'all really about Kobe. Nigga, y'all like Kobe.
Jackson's assessment reads like a psychological profile put together by a criminal investigator. He had studied Bryant's weaknesses, documented his flaws, and then shared his findings with the entire world. Talk about a betrayal that cuts deeper than any rivalry on the court. Next up, Paul Shirley's sociopath diagnosis. Wild, right? Sometimes, the most shocking insights come from the most unexpected places. Paul Shirley, a journeyman player who spent just 3 weeks at a Lakers training camp, delivered what might be the most psychologically disturbing assessment of Kobe Bryant ever recorded, and his take wasn't just harsh, it was downright chilling. Shirley's 2005 revelation on the Jason Whitlock show read like testimony from a criminal psychologist who had been studying a particularly complex and disturbing subject. This wasn't just trash talk between rivals. This was a trained observer suggesting that one of basketball's biggest stars might be fundamentally broken as a human being.
And I say that from the bottom. Any nigga mistreat his mama and daddy, let the get all the money, ain't my kind of nigga. Out like that hoe ass basketball dunking, tennis shoe squeaking ass. Yeah, him and his baby that died in the helicopter. GG too. Daddy was driving drunk. Ain't no different than a guy drunk driver. They told him not to fly. They told him he too cocky and arrogant. So yeah, he got everybody killed. Kobe Bryant got his baby killed and let the get all the money. Tell me about it. I done got mad again thinking about that clip. Gonna let the hoe get all the mom and daddy ain't got and the don't even give mom and daddy no debt. And his fans too. The Lakers, the Lakers. Got mad thinking about what that done to goddamn mom and daddy. And all his kids. I'm sorry, I'm just playing. I'm over here acting crazy on I'm cussing out Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry, yeah, man. I ain't coming.
The evidence Shirley presented painted a truly chilling portrait. He talked about watching Bryant mimic Michael Jordan's every move, every mannerism, so obsessively that his teammates would make fun of him behind his back. Shaquille O'Neal would allegedly call him Baby Mike, but Shirley saw something much darker, a person so emotionally detached that he couldn't even develop his own identity. The inability to form genuine connections, the mechanical way he copied another person's behavior, the complete lack of emotion, these aren't just character flaws, they're potential signs of serious psychological issues. Shirley's observations became even more disturbing when he shared specific interactions in his 2007 writings. He described Bryant as selfish, arrogant, and completely insufferable, noting that teammates and staff only put up with his behavior because of his insane basketball talent. But the most chilling detail came from practice. Shirley recounted how Bryant would curse out lesser teammates, treating them with a coldness that suggested he had zero empathy. What makes Shirley's testimony so believable is his position as an outsider. Unlike teammates with their own agendas or coaches with their reputations to protect, Shirley had literally nothing to gain from his assessment. He was a fringe player who witnessed Bryant during an unguarded moment in training camp when the superstar's real personality might have been on full display. Plus, his background as a writer gave him the ability to put into words what others might have only felt. The sociopath diagnosis, while not an official medical opinion, hits on specific behavioral markers that Shirley saw firsthand. The lack of real emotion, the inability to form authentic relationships, the manipulative way he copied other people's personalities, and the complete disregard for his teammates' feelings. These observations paint a disturbing picture that goes way beyond typical athlete arrogance, venturing into potentially pathological territory. Shirley's assessment stands as perhaps the most psychologically damning evaluation of Bryant's character, suggesting that beneath the Mamba mentality lies something far more unsettling than just competitive drive. Next up, Charles Barkley reveals Kobe's midnight threats. Get this. The phone calls came in the middle of the night, filled with profanity and threats that would make even a seasoned prosecutor raise an eyebrow. Charles Barkley's story about Kobe Bryant's 4-hour texting tirade exposed a side of the Lakers superstar that was borderline harassment or maybe even worse. Barkley's 2016 retelling of the incident reads like a police report. But if you strip away Barkley's humor, what you're left with is a pattern of threatening behavior that raises serious questions about Bryant's mental state and his ability to control his impulses. The reason for this digital attack: Barkley had criticized Bryant's performance in Game 7 of the 2006 Western Conference playoffs, where the Lakers got destroyed by Phoenix when he won a 90. Barkley had called Bryant a ball hog whose shot selection was hurting the team. Pretty standard analysis for a TV commentator, right? Bryant's response: hours of what Barkley described as death threats delivered via text message, suggesting that he couldn't handle even normal professional criticism. What makes this incident so disturbing is how it escalated. Barkley said that he didn't get similar reactions when he criticized other superstars like LeBron James, which suggests that Bryant's reaction was abnormally extreme. The fact that these threats went on from 1 a.m. until 5 a.m. points to an obsessive, almost manic fixation that went way beyond normal competitive anger. Barkley's later criticism of Bryant became even more pointed and personal. During Bryant's 2020 memorial service, Barkley controversially brought up the flaw that we all know about, a reference to the 2003 sexual assault case. A lot of people thought the timing was inappropriate, but Barkley's willingness to bring up this sensitive topic during a time of mourning shows that he believed Bryant's character had some serious moral failings that shouldn't be ignored, even in death. The ball hog comment wasn't just about basketball, it was Barkley pointing out a fundamental character flaw. Bryant's career stats kind of back this up. A 44.7% field goal percentage and a record 14,081 missed shots that cost his team countless possessions over 2 decades. Barkley's point was that Bryant's selfishness wasn't just a basketball problem, it was a personality issue that showed in his inability to trust his teammates and share the spotlight. And the midnight threats reveal something even more disturbing, a player whose first reaction to criticism was intimidation and even violence. When you combine this with other instances of Bryant's aggressive reactions to perceived slights, a pattern emerges that suggests serious anger management issues and potential psychological instability. Next up, Jeremy Lin exposes Kobe's toxic leadership. This is intense. The confrontation that ended in 4 months of silence revealed the true nature of Kobe Bryant's leadership style, and it was way uglier than anyone had imagined. Jeremy Lin's account of their explosive encounter during the 2014-15 Lakers season exposed a pattern of psychological abuse disguised as motivation, complete with racial undertones and emotional manipulation. Lin's 2021 revelation on the All the Smoke podcast described the breaking point with shocking clarity. I said, "Look, you're Kobe. I'm coming in trying to learn from you. So I'm okay with anything, as long as you talk to me like a man. Don't talk down to me like I'm a boy. Talk to me like a man, and respect me." This wasn't just a basketball disagreement. This was a confrontation about basic human dignity. The psychological warfare had started years earlier, back in 2012 during Lin's incredible Linsanity run with the Knicks. Bryant had claimed he didn't know who the Asian American guard was, telling the media, "I have no idea what you guys are talking about." This was after Lin had scored 38 points against Bryant's Lakers and was dominating sports headlines for weeks. The dismissive comment wasn't ignorance, it was calculated disrespect designed to minimize a rising star's achievements. But the most damaging evidence came in resurfaced practice footage, where Bryant's verbal assault on Lin was captured in brutal detail. Where soft like Charmin, Bryant screamed, targeting Lin and other teammates in a rant that reportedly left Lin crying in the locker room afterward. According to teammate Nick Young, this wasn't tough love, it was emotional abuse that crossed the line. But Bryant's cruelest moment came in his casual dismissal of his teammates as worthless. Lin remembered Bryant telling the team, "I just came by to say bye to some of you bums who are going to get traded." The callousness of writing off teammates as bums showed a complete lack of empathy and leadership skills, and prioritized ego over team chemistry. And let's not forget the racial element. Bryant's treatment of Lin, an Asian American player fighting for respect in a league where he faced unique challenges, suggests a pattern of targeting those he saw as different or vulnerable. The boy versus man language in their confrontation carries historical weight that made Bryant's condescending attitude even more problematic. The silent treatment that followed their confrontation, 4 months of completely refusing to communicate with a teammate, showed the petty vindictiveness that defined Bryant's leadership style. Instead of handling the conflict like a professional, Bryant chose psychological punishment that damaged team chemistry and Lin's mental health. This wasn't the behavior of a champion leader, it was the reaction of someone whose authority had been questioned and who couldn't handle being called out for his inappropriate behavior. Gilbert Arenas destroys Kobe's championship legacy. When Gilbert Arenas decided to go after Kobe Bryant's legacy, he didn't hold back. He basically dismantled everything fans believed about the Lakers legend. His brutal 2025 assessment didn't just question Bryant's greatness, it suggested his entire reputation was built on a foundation of lies and media manipulation. Arenas' most devastating shots came during his appearance on First Take. He was considered the next Pippen. This wasn't just criticism, it was rewriting history to strip Bryant of his championship credibility. The comparison to Scottie Pippen was especially harsh, suggesting that Bryant's 3 titles were basically meaningless because he wasn't the main guy. Arenas doubled down on this character assassination. You only respect the driver of the car, nobody respects the passenger. Kobe had 3 rings with Shaq but was still in T-Mac conversations. The message was clear. Bryant was a fraud whose championships were stolen. But Arenas wasn't done. His attack on the Mamba mentality revealed what he claimed was the dirty secret everyone knew but wouldn't admit. We're celebrating the Mamba mentality now, but during Kobe's prime, everybody loathed it, especially his teammates. This wasn't just sports talk, this was saying that Bryant's defining trait was actually toxic and destroyed teams. The psychological warfare continued with Arenas' most brutal statement, "You're liking Kobe because you know Kobe. If you take Kobe, erase his name from your memory, and then put these stats in here, you're going to hate it, just like you hate everybody else." This implied that Bryant's whole reputation was based on name recognition, not actual performance. Talk about a devastating indictment. Arenas' criticism is a little more believable because of their history. Their most famous game was December 17, 2006, when Arenas scored 60 points against Bryant's Lakers, outplaying the supposed superstar in his own building. After the game, Arenas was celebrating in the locker room while Bryant dismissed him as a player with no conscience. It was a backhanded compliment that showed Bryant couldn't admit when he'd been beaten. The timing of Arenas' attack made it even more damaging. He spoke after Bryant's death, when criticism was considered off limits, and chose to shatter the mythology that was being built around the Lakers legend. His willingness to witness attack a deceased player's reputation suggests either he's remarkably courageous or just plain cruel. Either way, it exposed some uncomfortable truths about how Bryant was really seen by his peers during his career. Jeff Teague questions Kobe's defensive reputation. Seriously? Sometimes the most damaging stuff comes from the most unexpected sources. Jeff Teague's 2025 attack on Kobe Bryant's defensive reputation didn't just question his 12 all-defensive team selections, it exposed what he claimed was one of the NBA's biggest scams, a systematic deception that fooled fans and media for over a decade. Teague's appearance on his Club 520 podcast was like a criminal investigation report, and I'ma tell y'all something about all defensive teams. They just put anybody on them after a while. Like if you made it once or twice, 3 times, they just start putting you on there. Like 12 times. I played Kobe, bro. He wasn't guarding like that. This wasn't just criticizing Bryant's later years. This was accusing the basketball establishment of fraud. The personal testimony continued as Teague shared his own experiences. Maybe the first 4 or 5 years he was, but after that he wasn't guarding like that, bro. This suggested that Bryant had been coasting on his reputation for almost half his career, while still getting defensive honors he didn't deserve. If true, that's a level of deception that's almost criminal. But Teague's character assassination went further than just defensive awards. His admission that he never liked watching Kobe Bryant play revealed a fundamental rejection of everything fans celebrated about the Lakers legend. "I never liked watching Kobe Bryant play. I knew he was cold. I knew he was a killer. But I ain't never watched him play. All his teas seemed like he was trying too hard. This wasn't just about style. This was a psychological analysis suggesting that Bryant's whole approach was flawed. The most personal attack came when Teague trashed the championship teams Bryant led without Shaquille O'Neal, that Kobe team outside of Kobe and Powell. That team, they wasn't deep enough to be considered memorable. This attack on Bryant's 2009 and 2010 championship teams suggested that even his success after Shaq was built on weak foundations that shouldn't be celebrated. The psychological battle between Teague and Bryant had personal roots. In 2014, the Lakers wanted Teague to help their aging superstar, but Teague turned them down, citing California's high taxes. When they played each other later, Bryant confronted him, clearly frustrated. "You left me out here with this shit. I told them to go and get you," referring to Jeremy Lin, whom Bryant thought was inadequate. This rejection seems to have fueled Teague's later willingness to destroy Bryant's reputation. The reaction to Teague's comments was quick and harsh, with former NBA player Olden Polinas calling it a bum mindset to criticize someone who can't defend himself. But the damage was done. Teague had planted seeds of doubt about one of Bryant's most celebrated qualities, suggesting that his defensive reputation was largely made up by a media and voting system that valued narrative over reality. Tracy McGrady claims he could replace Kobe. Wow, the betrayal cut deep because it came from someone who had called Kobe Bryant his brother. When Tracy McGrady decided to wreck their bond with a single statement in 2025, he didn't just question Bryant's legacy, he suggested that any talented player could have had the same success, reducing the Lakers legend to someone easily replaced. McGrady's June 2025 appearance on ESPN's First Take delivered the blow with surgical precision. This wasn't just competitive talk, this was systematically downplaying Bryant's role in 3 straight championships. McGrady was basically saying that Bryant's biggest achievements were so circumstantial that any good player could have done the same thing. Saying that championships were just about being in the right situation took away Bryant's agency and his own success story. The betrayal stung even more because of their friendship. McGrady had said before that they were like brothers, and that he had stayed at Bryant's house when he was 19, watching Michael Jordan tapes together and bonding over basketball. For someone who knew Bryant's work ethic and dedication so well, to say his success was replaceable felt like the ultimate backstab. The backlash was immediate and brutal, forcing McGrady to try and fix the damage. A few days later, he tried to explain himself on Timeless Sports, which showed how big his mistake was. "I never should have said replace. I never said I was better than Kobe. Kobe's my brother. By the 2nd or 3rd championship, Kobe's probably the best player in the game." But the damage was already done. McGrady had already said that Bryant's championships were circumstantial, not earned. What makes McGrady's claim so empty is his own playoff record. Even though he was a 2-time scoring champion who averaged over 32 points per game in 2002-03, McGrady never made it past the first round as the main player. His claim that he could have led teams to championships sounds false when you look at his actual playoff performance. It's like someone who's never proven themselves at the highest level claiming they could match someone who's done it 5 times. The timing made McGrady's comments even more disturbing. He spoke after Bryant's death, when the Lakers legend couldn't respond or defend himself, which suggests either he's remarkably insensitive or just trying to take advantage of the situation. McGrady's emotional backtracking, where he called Bryant his brother and put him in a separate class with Michael Jordan, felt more like PR than real regret. The incident showed how even friendships in professional sports can be ruined by ego and legacy. McGrady's willingness to sacrifice his relationship with a dead friend for a moment of perceived validation exposed the shallow nature of many NBA brotherhoods, and how far some players will go to protect their own place in history. Stephen A. Smith's false memorial. Seriously messed up. The attack happened late at night on live TV, a calculated attempt to destroy reputations and manipulate emotions. When Stephen A. Smith decided to use Kobe Bryant's death against LeBron James in March 2025, he didn't just cross professional lines, he basically committed televised character assassination that used a tragedy for his own purposes. Smith's 15-minute rant on First Take included the false claim, "I never brought up, really, and never really discussed why you were not at Kobe Bryant's memorial service." This wasn't just a mistake, it was a deliberate attempt to hurt James's reputation by suggesting he had disrespected someone everyone loved. The accusation carried a moral weight, implying that James's absence was a major character flaw. The lie was quickly exposed by several media outlets, which showed that James had, in fact, attended the memorial service at Staples Center on February 24, 2020. He had asked not to be filmed out of respect. Smith's lie wasn't a simple mistake. It was a deliberate attempt to create a false story that would turn Bryant's fans against James in their ongoing feud. What makes Smith's deception so bad is his history of fights with Bryant himself. In 2019, Smith said that Bryant scared the living shit out of me during a 2006 confrontation over critical comments, describing the Lakers superstar as potentially violent and emotionally unstable. Smith's willingness to both fear Bryant and then use his death against another player shows a level of opportunism that's almost sociopathic. Smith's pattern of attacking Bryant also extended to his basketball analysis, where he often questioned the Lakers' legends' efficiency and shot selection. His 2018 criticism that Kobe took too many shots and it cost his team at times was similar to other critics who portrayed Bryant as fundamentally selfish. But Smith's willingness to keep attacking even after Bryant's death shows an unusual level of professional hatred. The forced apology that followed Smith's false memorial claim felt more like legal damage control than real regret. I misspoke. I corrected myself in R2 when I acknowledged he was indeed in attendance. My mistake should not have even broached that subject. The clinical language revealed someone covering his tracks rather than someone genuinely sorry for exploding a tragedy. The social media reaction was quick and brutal, with fans calling Smith's tactics classless and weird, and accusing him of using Bryant's memory to gain support from Kobe fans. The incident showed Smith's willingness to sacrifice journalistic integrity and basic human decency for manufactured TV drama. The false memorial accusation was the ultimate exploitation of Bryant's death, using the Lakers legend's tragedy as ammunition in an unrelated feud while also disrespecting his memory through deliberate deception. Smith's actions showed how some media personalities see dead athletes not as human beings deserving respect, but as weapons to be used in ongoing narratives. Shaquille O'Neal exposes Kobe's betrayal. This is nuclear. The most explosive revelation in NBA history came in a profanity-laced freestyle rap delivered by a 7-foot giant with a grudge that had been building for years. When Shaquille O'Neal stepped onto that New York nightclub stage in June 2008, he wasn't just performing, he was delivering a calculated character assassination that would be remembered forever. The rap's opening lines were like a knife. But the real poison came with what followed. Accusations that would make any prosecutor excited. O'Neal didn't just attack Kobe's basketball skills, he went after his character, suggesting that during Kobe's 2003 sexual assault case, Bryant had thrown his teammate under the bus to save himself. The backstory reads like a crime thriller. During police questioning about the Colorado hotel incident, Bryant supposedly told investigators, "I should have done what Shaq does." Shaq gives them money or buys them cars. He has already spent $1 million to keep the girls quiet. This wasn't just teammate beef. It was the ultimate betrayal, the kind that ruins relationships forever. Their partnership had been basketball perfection, 3 straight championships from 2000 to 2002, but behind the trophies was a lot of resentment. O'Neal often called himself the leader, while dismissing Kobe's attempts to take control. The tension grew until it couldn't be fixed. When Bryant, feeling the pressure of his legal problems and impending free agency, decided to sacrifice his teammate's reputation to law enforcement, O'Neal's rap wasn't just entertainment, it was evidence. Evidence of how deeply Bryant's alleged betrayal had cut, how a championship dynasty crumbled, not from outside pressure, but from inside. The big man's public humiliation of his former teammate 4 years after they split up showed wounds that never healed. When O'Neal later defended Bryant's ranking as number 11 all-time as criminal, it seemed almost like Stockholm Syndrome, still protecting the man who had supposedly stabbed him in the back when it mattered most. The most chilling part, O'Neal's calculated delivery suggested this wasn't a moment of weakness, but a planned execution. He had waited, watched Kobe struggle without him, then struck when his former teammate was most vulnerable. After losing the 2008 finals to Boston, the message was clear. You needed me more than I needed you, and everyone knows it. Finally, we draw the curtains on one man who, although not an NBA legend, he sure knows how to hop on buzzing news. White is one to call it as he sees it all the time, and this time he believes Kobe wasn't worth all the hype. Charleston White's death conspiracy theory. This is just The most disturbing character assassination of Kobe Bryant came from a surprising source, a self-proclaimed activist whose conspiracy theories about the Lakers legend's death crossed every possible line of decency and human compassion. Charleston White's August 2025 rant didn't just attack Bryant's character, it suggested that his tragic helicopter crash was divine punishment for alleged family sins, creating a story so disgusting that it shocked even people who are used to crazy stuff on social media. White's toxic August 13, 2025 video delivered the attack with calculated cruelty. This wasn't just character assassination, it was like a terrorist attack using religion, using beliefs to justify a tragedy that killed 9 people, including 13-year-old Gianna Bryant. The conspiracy theory showed White's willingness to use documented family problems for maximum shock value. Bryant's relationship with his parents, Joe and Pam, had been strained because they didn't approve of his 2001 marriage to Vanessa Bryant, and it got worse during a 2013 lawsuit over memorabilia sales. But White's portrayal of these private family matters as a reason for mass death showed a level of moral corruption that's hard to understand. White's attack was especially bad because of when it happened and who he was targeting. He spoke 5 years after Bryant's death, when the Lakers legend couldn't defend himself or his family, and chose to add more pain to a family that was already grieving. His decision to include Gianna Bryant, a child who had nothing to do with any adult family issues, in his death conspiracy showed that he was willing to use child victims for attention. The religious excuse White used was a particularly disgusting form of blaming the victim, suggesting that God had caused the helicopter crash to punish the family. Thanks for staying tuned. We've come to the end of this clip. For more of such content, click on the card showing on the screen.